Hey guys, welcome to episode 12 of the Western Movement podcast. We have an awesome guest with us today. She's a local athlete at St. Thomas More. Great person, great kid. Thanks for coming on, Sloane.
Yeah, of course.
Now, before we get into this, I want to just first of all say congrats on your recent offers, on the recent recognition you've been receiving on the basketball end, because I know you work really hard for that, but long time coming.
For sure. Thank you.
Now, before we dig into the offers that you've received and all that, I just want to talk a little bit about when did you know college basketball was the path that you wanted to take? Was that younger on or was that a couple years ago or when did that come to you?
I've always kind of just loved basketball. When I was in kindergarten, I remember I was new to the school, and one of my best friends, he's still one of my best friends, he was like, "Hey, you should come play basketball with us." And immediately I just kind of fell in love with the sport. I was like, "Mom, you got to get me to play basketball. I want to play all these leagues." And I kind of, at a young age, was like, "Yeah, I want to play basketball in college." And I feel like most kids kind of have that dream when they're younger, but it just never left. Through middle school, I was always like, yeah, I want to play college basketball, and then it's just continued throughout high school. So, um, I've just never really lost the love for the sport. I've had great coaches and great teammates and awesome support, and my parents have always been there for me. And so, yeah, it's always been college basketball, and I was always going to pursue that dream no matter how it was going to happen. But yeah.
So, having always known, I know that there's certain decisions and commitments and so you could say sacrifices that have to be made to make that dream your reality. So, if you could just, I mean, start in middle school, move up into high school, then move up into where you're at right now. Some of those decisions and commitments that you had to make that really separated it for you.
When I was younger in middle school, I never played AAU basketball. I was always just on a travel team. I played for St. Thomas More in middle school. I broke my wrist seventh grade year, so I didn't even get to play seventh grade year. But just middle school was fine, and then I kind of got into high school, and my high school coach was like, "Hey, if you want to play college basketball, it's a little bit more serious now. You can't just play during the school ball season. You got to put extra work in, all this." And I did training sessions when I was younger with um, Megan Mahoney. She played professional basketball for WNBA and then in Europe. So, and she went to Sturgis, and my parents knew her. So I did lots of training sessions with her. But you definitely have to sacrifice a lot of your time. Um, there have been multiple occasions where my friends are going to the lake or my friends have a birthday party or whatever, and I just can't because I have to go to an AAU tournament or, oh my goodness, Augustana's having an elite camp. I gotta go show up and try and play good in front of the coaches or all those kind of instances. I've had to make so many sacrifices. Um, but it's really helped having really good friends who have just been like, Sloan, you gotta go. We don't care if you come to my birthday party. Go to that camp, go show the coaches what's up. So I've had a really good support system throughout all of it, but you have to sacrifice a lot of time, and sometimes it takes away from being a teenager a little bit. But when it's a real dream and a real goal, it's so worth it.
So you talked a little bit about your circle of people, your family, your parents being amazing support, your high school coach, him telling you the realities of it. You had Megan Mahoney work with you, and then your friends. Everyone's supportive of your dream and your vision to go play the college sport. But without that, it's almost it's not impossible to do, but it's a lot more difficult to stay on that path. So, talk a little bit about the impact that your high school coach had on you when you were younger.
My high school coach has definitely done a lot for me. Obviously, he's a very successful coach. He's been coaching at STM for I don't even know how long, so long. He's an old man, but um, he's won 7 state titles. I've been a part of one of them. Um, and he's just awesome. Just the way he coaches and his love for the game just makes it 10 times easier to love the game. And he's also my math teacher, and so he wants not only your success on the basketball court, but he wants to see it in the classroom. And I think that's really important, and I think that's a really big thing. Um, and like, I think it's important that basketball is more than just basketball, but it's how it makes you, like, off the court. Um, you should be a better person because of basketball, because you learn so much, you play with different people, but Coach Canlin has definitely made that super easy, and he's just really been there through like every step of the way. I've known him since like fourth grade. Like I went to all of his basketball camps and everything. Um, I got to watch him win a couple of his other state titles. Like you just understand that he's an amazing coach and he has awesome relationships with his players. And I think that's really important. And I think that's what kind of helps him stand out from like other coaches. Watching people win makes you want to win. Obviously, especially when it's your school. I've always had a bunch of school pride. If you ask me about STM, I'll say nothing but good things because I just love it so much. But um, just like growing up and seeing that like that could be me one day is such a big thing, and it makes you want to work 10 times harder because success is 110% earned. Like there was there were like 5 years there where STM won like 4 out of the 5 state championships like in a row, and they made it look extremely extremely easy. Like Ashlyn Duffy and that group of girls, they made that look so easy, but realizing now it's a lot harder. Like they were working really hard. They were putting time in during the summer. Most of them played college basketball, which obviously helps when you have 3 out of the 5 girls on the court that played college basketball. But that's just a lot of hard work, and those are girls that you obviously look up to. Like I grew up around the Duffy family, and they're all extremely hardworking, extremely successful, and just like it just makes you want to work 1,000 times harder because you want that to be you. You want your name to be on the state championship trophy. You want your graduation year on the banners at school, like all that kind of stuff. And it's just really easy to want to win when you see people that also want to win. Yeah, I feel like I definitely took on more of a leadership role last year, which is really helping me transition to this year. But it just makes me realize how important it is to not just be a good person on the basketball court, but off it too. Like every day at practice, like to encourage the younger kids to make them want to come back because when you leave whatever school you're playing at, yes, you're gonna leave your mark. That's obviously the goal. You want to leave your mark, but you also want to make sure that the future is like they want to be like you, because like there have been teammates I've had in the past where they've just been treated like crap when they were younger, so they just treated the younger generation like crap, and I just think that's not how you build championships. Because my mom always stresses this, that you're only as good as your weakest player. Um, you could have 5 D1 players on the court, but you could have someone who can barely dribble a basketball also on the court, and you could lose most of your games. Like that one person is so important, and it's very important to encourage them and bring them up. And um, I'm definitely excited to take on a leadership role again this year because I really do enjoy it. I really do enjoy being a role model for these girls. Um, it's stressful at times, obviously, but I definitely wouldn't trade it for anything. And I'm very excited for um, the season this year. I think we're going to be good. We definitely had the rebuild last year, but I'm really looking forward to this year and carrying the younger girls to hopefully a very successful season as a leader.
Well,
I think the Gators program is great compared to other programs I've been a part of, especially those East River programs. I just think it's way different. All of us girls practice together at Gators. I mean, we have people that are 17 years old practicing with people like Marley, who's super young but super great. And you just have all these great basketball players together who are all in different stages of their basketball careers. Like I look back to when I was a seventh grader, and it's way different than how I am now. And just putting all these groups of girls together, you'd think would be like stressful and like not competitive and all this, but practices were so extremely competitive. And I think that's a great thing about the Gators program is that the groups just merge together and we just want to kick each other's butt at practice, but when we're done with practice, we're all really good friends. We all snap each other, we all have each other on Instagram, we're always texting each other. I do think that's a really good thing. And especially for that younger group to be able to look up to us older girls like me, Joe, Britt, Maya, Tamia, Ange, all of us girls who are leaders on our teams to watch us be leaders during AAU and so that they can eventually translate that because they are going to be the leaders of their team one day. And it's important that they do it right because otherwise you're not going to win very many games. So just the culture around Gators, I think, is really important and really good. Even though the age groups are so mixed up, but I think that's what makes the Gators program as successful as it is, especially as it's still growing. I played for an East River program my freshman year, and looking back at it, like at the time, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind traveling, and I met so many new girls, so many awesome girls that I still talk to today. Like they're still awesome. Um, but East River, they just really favor East River basketball. They really put an emphasis on it, and it just makes you feel like the odd man out. And you're doing all this traveling. You're doing 10 times more traveling than all the other girls are doing just to show up and just be like not a priority at like practices or games or whatever. So having the opportunity to be just like literally 7 minutes away from practice was it was a big deal. Even for such a young program. Um, I definitely had my doubts coming into Gators. I remember when TJ texted me for the first time, he was like, "You should just come to a practice, just try it out." I was like, "I'm not sure if I want to do AAU. Like my last AAU experience was just awful. I'm just not sure." But um, he was like, "Just come to one practice." So I came to one practice and ended up going to like 50 more. Um, Obviously got done this summer with it, and I'm so like grateful to have that opportunity to have played for TJ and to start something awesome here in West River because I think there is so much great West River basketball that East River is not even looking at. Um, there have been so many great players that have came out of all the Rapid City schools. All the West River schools have had awesome athletes who have continued at the collegiate level in every sport, not just basketball. So I like that the opportunity for West River basketball is growing and that hopefully we can maybe get some tournaments on the west side because it's quite the drive, quite the hike getting up to Minnesota and stuff. But yeah, I've gotten like I've been in contact with all kinds of coaches since like last summer. I got my first text from a coach last summer. I remember my heart beating so fast. I was like, "No way, this is happening." I don't talk to that coach anymore, just because I kind of cut off connections because I didn't think for what I wanted to do school wise, it wasn't like responsible of me to keep pursuing that school. So I kind of just was like, "Hey, like I can't go to school there. Thank you so much for like recognizing me, but I just can't go to school there." And so this summer, I guess my first text was from Briar Cliff after I went to the Warwick Elite Camp. Um, I sent out before then. I sent out a bunch of emails to a bunch of schools, especially in the NAIA kind of circuit, because the GPAC is a very successful NAIA circuit, and I was like, I could definitely see myself playing there. So I sent them out to literally most of the schools. Um, well, Briarcliff was the first one to reach out, and they were like, "Hey, Sloane, like we really like how you play." Kind of sent me this whole paragraph just about like things they like about the way I play. They talked about coming to visit, and so immediately I was like, "Okay, can you visit this day?" And so that's when I kind of got my first visit in the books. And then I also got a text from Northwestern, which is in Orange City, and I ended up visiting them literally the next day. So I just went back to back visits because I didn't want to drive 6 hours all the way back again. So I tried to knock out as many as I could. Um, After those 2 visits, though, I kind of came back home a little disappointed because I didn't get an offer from either at the time. This was in like late June. I was like, okay, well, I traveled 6 hours and neither of them offered me. Like, I definitely had some self doubts at the time. I was like, well, if this is how every college does it, maybe this isn't for me. But I kind of just stuck with it. And then later I got a text from DWU, which is in Mitchell. And they were like, hey, Sloane, we saw you at Minneapolis. We liked how you played. We could see you as a fit in our program. We'd like you to come visit. So I haven't visited DWU yet. I visit them next Friday. Well, this upcoming Friday. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I got a text from Coach Bertram at Mount Marty. And he was like, he said all the same stuff. We like how you play. We want you to come visit. And so I went and visited Mount Marty. But before that, I did like a private workout with Coach Bertram. He was in Rapid, and I couldn't make it to the Gators thing. So I was like, hey, I can get STM open for us if you want to work out for like 45 minutes. And it was probably one of the most intense workouts I've ever done. I thought I was dying, and the gym was so hot. But I survived. And then me and my mom traveled to Yankton the next day. The visit was awesome. Mount Marty's pretty small, as are all the other schools, but that's okay with me. And then I got to talk with one of the players at Mount Marty, and that was really cool. And then towards the end of it, Coach Bertram just sat me and my mom down and was like, we'd like to offer you a scholarship. And yeah, so it was like a Friday when I visited, and so admissions wasn't there. It was just literally me and Coach Bertram and like one player, and it was like super different than all the other schools I visited because I've talked to admissions at all the other schools. But I really liked Coach Bertram. He was super awesome. I like his West River connection too. And I just think he's a great coach, and he's really trying to build at Mount Marty because Mount Marty kind of has been in the slumps lately. But so Mount Marty was super awesome. I got my offer, and then I sent it out immediately to like social media because I think that's what other college coaches kind of want to see is that you're getting offers. And so I sent out that offer, and then a couple days later, I woke up from a nap because I have soccer at like 4:30 in the morning. So I literally just nap all day. But I woke up from a nap, and I got a text from the Briarcliff coach, and he was like, hey, Sloane, we'd like to offer you. And so I got that offer. I was like, thank you, whatever. That was super exciting to have options now and kind of get to pick where I want to go instead of being like, oh, this is the only place I get to go. And then I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, DJ texted me and the Bismarck State coach texted me. They were both like, hey, like, we want to offer you. We think you'd be a great fit for our program, and we really want to see you in a Mystics uniform. So, yeah, and that's pretty much my offer so far. It's definitely nice to have options, but every school does it very differently, for sure. Which I have no older siblings. This is my first time doing this. This is the first time for me and like the rest of my family, the whole recruiting process, and it's kind of stressful. But it's definitely brought some more ease having those offers now, and I'm just super blessed for the offers. I feel like I've put a lot of hard work in for them, but yeah, that's kind of how the offers kind of came in. So yeah. Most of the coaches have given me a deadline of like end of basketball season, but I definitely want to make a commitment before then. I don't really know when I'm probably aiming for. It'd probably be ideal to commit before basketball season starts just so that weight's off my shoulders. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about making a decision because soccer gets over and then I have a month off and then I have basketball season. So hopefully during that month off, I can really sit down and be like, here are the pros and cons of each school. Here's how much I have to pay for each school. Here are the scholarships I need. So ideally, I'd maybe like to make a commitment before school ball season starts, but I guess we'll see when we get there. We'll see if I can pick up any more offers and get any more options because that'd be nice too. It's always nice to have a couple more options to see what the best fit for you is.
So what are you going to school for?
Um, Initially, I was gonna go to school for art, but all the programs that have offered me don't have art programs because I eventually want to be an architect. So I'm gonna have to go to grad school anyways, but I can undergrad in whatever I want. But I've also been interested in teaching, so most of these programs have elementary or secondary education, so I'll probably major in secondary or elementary education and then take some art classes. About how my first 4 years I kind of want to stay close to home, but after that I'd probably like to get away a little bit and just venture out because I'm big on like traveling, and so maybe getting somewhere like the University of Washington in Seattle is like the dream for architecture school, but we'll see. So yeah, it's pretty ideal to stay close and play basketball and then venture out when I'm done. Soccer since I was 5. So I've been playing soccer longer than I've been playing basketball. And I really like soccer. I've definitely there was a time last year where basketball just like I was like I don't know why I don't have any offers yet cuz I just had no clue about the recruiting process. I was like maybe basketball's not in the books, maybe I should look at soccer. So I definitely considered soccer. And when I went and visited Briar Cliff, they were actually like asking me what sports I play and I'm like, "Oh, I play soccer." And they're like, "Oh, you want to come play soccer here too?" And I'm like, "No, I want to just focus on one sport. I'm not trying to have no social life in college." But um yeah, I've definitely considered soccer. I really really like it, but I just don't think it's the right fit for me. I think I'm probably good enough to play like at the collegiate level. I don't even know. I have never watched college soccer. But once the basketball kind of just started coming together, I was like, yeah, I want to play basketball. Even though soccer is so much fun, my kids are definitely gonna be playing soccer one day. Um, and I think soccer is really good for basketball. Um, they're not similar at all, but just like having you use your feet instead of your hands, you wouldn't believe how much trouble some people have playing soccer. Um, Especially when you just start learning it. It's a pretty hard sport, but it's super fun. But it's a lot of running. I run a lot, and I don't like running. So the fact that I have to play a sport where I run a bunch, I don't know why I do it, but I guess I like it. So coaches I've talked to have been like, we want multi-sport athletes. If you don't play more than one sport, like it just makes us kind of question your discipline, your hard work, and like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know what. Like ideally, you would think I'd play all this soccer growing up and be like, I want to play soccer. But I just love basketball so much that I decided on basketball. But when I played soccer when I was younger, I played for a club team. So I played year round. So I would play soccer during the winter months when I was also playing basketball, which was a lot and it's kind of crazy. But just being able to focus on like wanting to get better at basketball. And I was not growing up, I was like not the best soccer player on my team. Um, I was usually just like one of the lower girls. Like I got lots of playing time, but like it's not like I was one of those priority players where it's like, yeah, you're gonna be really good one day. Where in basketball, I had a lot of attention growing up when I played basketball. I was usually the best player on my team. I was usually the point guard, all that kind of stuff. I was just one of those kids that would just drive it to the lane every time and shoot a layup, and it usually went in because there's not much defense being played when you're younger. But I think that kind of attention on like basketball definitely helped just make me focus on basketball even more. But being a multi-sport athlete is like I can't even stress how important it is. It's so important. Um, just playing different sports, being around different groups of people. Like none of my friends play soccer. Like, I obviously have friends on my soccer team, but none of my really close friends who play basketball play soccer. So just being around different groups of people, I think, is really important. Um, and um, each sport like gives a different aspect to other sports. Like, I think soccer helps with my footwork in basketball, and I think it gives me a quicker first step. While volleyball might help out a lot more with hand-eye coordination or whatever. I never played volleyball, so I have no clue. But every sport just brings a different aspect of other sports into it, and it helps you grow as a basketball player. Or if you're a basketball player but you want to focus on volleyball, it helps you grow as a volleyball player. If you run cross country but you want to pursue soccer, like cross country is going to help you pursue soccer. Like every sport just elevates the aspect of another sport. Recruiting process for me was going to be like the recruiting process for like Reese Ross and Haley Timmer. Um, they're both D1 athletes. They both played North Tartan. They were multi-sport athletes too, but they were very focused on basketball. And they just had offers come in. They never really had to send emails out, all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was going to be what my recruiting process was going to look like. And so when it didn't look like that, I was like, what's going on? Like, basketball is not for me. Why aren't people reaching out to me? And I just realized for me, it was just going to have to be a little bit more work. And that, like, mentally was a hard thing to figure out and a hard thing to overcome and a hard thing to just accept that you're going to have to put a little bit more work in. Like, you're going to have to send emails out. You're going to have to text coaches. You're going to have to go to elite camps. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do that. Was a hard thing to accept. And especially last year, I thought that the recruiting process should have been going a lot smoother. I thought I should have offers coming in to junior year. I thought I could have a good idea of where I'm going to go going into junior year. And just looking back, I'm like, Sloane, that's so ridiculous. Like, that's not the real world. That's not how that works. But just having a good group of people around me and having supportive coaches and supportive people. Like, my mom was really there for me. My mom was like, you're not going to give up on your dreams just because it's not going how you think it should be going. Because looking back, how I think it should have been going was wrong. So I'm glad I didn't obviously give up on that. And just having people like my AAU coach, TJ, who was always like, if you need me to send something out, like, I'll reach out to coaches. I'll do this, I'll do that. We can get in the gym together more, all that kind of stuff. I went to some of his camps. And honestly, basketball helped the most with the recruiting process. I almost use basketball as like an escape from all the things that I'm going through, like mentally, or like if school's getting really hard, I'll be like, hey, coach, I need you to get me in the gym for 30 minutes, please. Like, I use basketball as an escape for everything. So just using basketball as an escape from basketball was really big for me. But I just really tried to take it easy on myself and realize that the recruiting process is not going to be perfect. It's going to be really ugly, actually. It actually sucks. I hated the recruiting process, like the beginning of it, because it's just like, what am I doing? But just having good people around you, having good resources, as in having an awesome AAU coach, an awesome school ball coach, and a gym and a basketball, having a computer to send out emails. That's literally all it takes to get the recruiting process started. And when it's mentally getting hard, you just need to trust yourself and be like, I just need to keep going, because eventually, if you're working hard enough, something will come.
But any ending remarks, like, as we kind of wrap this up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my biggest thing is just trust the process. There's gonna be so many ups, so many downs. Your ego is gonna feel really high one day, and you're gonna be like completely shot down the next. But just know that's all part of the process. And if you keep working hard and you really want it, it's gonna happen. like, I'm a firm believer on what's meant to be is meant to be. And so just trust yourself, because if you don't trust yourself, no one's going to trust yourself for you. So just trust the process. It's all fun. You'll look back and you'll be like, that was no big deal. But just trust the process, because it'll work out the way it needs to work out.